Friends with differences.
Friends with differences.
Friends with differences.
Friends with differences.
Welcome to the Friends with Differences podcast.
Hey, let's go.
Andy, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed it.
I wanted to press the button.
Yeah, I mean, run it up.
Had to get it in somewhere. You know.
Yeah, the intro is a great time to do it. So, for the people, what did we talk about this episode?
We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the space napkin, units of measurement, lots of fun stuff. Chemistry, physics, psychology, psychiatry.
Touch of video games.
Touch of video games, yeah. Touch of video games.
Yeah, Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud, yes. And his cocaine ways, yes. Yeah. We were kind of all over the map today.
A little bit, but that's okay.
It was a good discussion.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Thank you again for coming on. And hopefully we'll have you back soon.
All right.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Friends with differences.
Friends with differences. Friends with differences.
To the Friends with Differences podcast. Cheers.
Cheers. Fresca.
Fresco Nyko.
Oh, that's what you got in the mug?
All right.
So is that what you always have in the mug?
This is my first episode with Mug. I'm going for a talk show kind of vibe. You know?
All right. Yeah.
Every talk show host, I feel like, just sits back with a coffee mug.
Yeah, even if there's, like, you can tell Conan O'Brien never drinks out of his.
Yeah.
He'll just go up and, like, he just can't act it right. Like, there's nothing in there.
Just kind of a prop.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, thank you for coming on the podcast, Friends with Differences.
Great to be here.
It's been far too long since I've done an episode, and so we've got a different setup, which I'm really excited by.
Yeah.
So thank you. This is going to be the kickoff to season 3.
Season 3.
Hey.
Hopefully that wasn't too loud for the mic.
No. I mean, we're used to
All right.
slamming the hype
Yeah.
button, you know?
All right. Then I won't worry.
No, don't worry. So, I'm not going to lie. My first questions on this list were about school. Because you're a psychology...
I am a medical student who would like to go into psychiatry.
Okay, because that's one of my questions is like the end goal. What do you want to...
Yeah.
What do you see yourself as?
I probably see myself as primarily an outpatient psychiatrist. So
Okay.
I don't see myself as doing a lot of psychotherapy. Psychiatry as a field has kind of gotten away with that and let some of the other counseling fields go a little and have a little more of the psychotherapy side, whereas a lot of psychiatrists have shifted towards mainly prescribing medicines. So that's kind of why I see what I'm doing myself, especially because they don't get as much. Psychiatrists don't get as much talk therapy training as like a psychology, like a psych D or something.
Okay, yeah. So let me try to clarify the distinctions. You're talking about a psychologist versus a psychiatrist?
Yes. So a psychiatrist is a medical doctor who, after they're done, decides that they want to focus on mental disorders and the treatment of them. A psychologist is somebody who went to graduate, like in this instance, I'm talking about somebody who went to grad school for psychology and got either a master's or a doctorate level degree.
And would do like therapy sessions.
Primarily, there's some other things that they can do. And
so you're more or less dealing with the drugs that affect the brain, not necessarily.
That and conditions that affect the brain.
Yeah.
Because you are the medical doctor, you get a little bit wider of a scope of practice, whereas there are states that actually allow for some prescribing privileges for psychologists. I don't believe where we are is one of them.
Interesting.
But I could be wrong. I have not looked up the relevant law on that in a second. So
yeah, I don't think I knew the difference between the two fields before.
They work together. It just they're different types of practitioners in the same field. I think it's the same field. I would say. We're all kind of on the same team.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I learned about Sigmund Freud for like the first time. Freud.
Oh yes. Oh boy.
I wasn't really familiar with his work until recently, and he sounds like quite a controversial figure.
Oh my goodness.
Is that like something school covers or no? Just the internet?
It is. I have learned about what Freud has done. It was not covered in my medical education because, truthfully, the psychiatric portion of our medical education is very limited.
Yeah.
We only get like the equivalent of like one class during the first 2 years on it. So we didn't really get into Sigmund Freud, but I took some undergrad psychology, and yeah, Sigmund Freud, he's a character.
Yeah, the only thing, like, I know a very little amount of him. But I know he gets credit for being like one of the first voices to say like, "Oh, you're attracted to people like your mom."
Oh yeah, the Oedipus complex.
Yeah. Did he originate that?
I believe he did. I mean, Oedipus is an old story, so I guess he's not the first one to think of like that idea of incest, but because that the story of Oedipus goes back to ancient Greece. And Oedipus Rex, but yeah, to my knowledge, Sigmund Freud is the origin of the Oedipus complex, where like a male child, their like desire is to kill their father and sleep with their mother.
I didn't know it went so deep. I just thought it was like, you like somebody who smells like your mom because that's what you grew up with. I didn't realize it had the whole killing your father part.
I don't know if his does or not. Is that Oedipus' story? Yeah, that's the story of Oedipus. The story of Oedipus Rex. It's actually spoilers. You've had 2,000 years.
Spoilers.
You've had 2,000 years to figure it out, but. A king and a queen are expecting a baby, and they're told by a fortune teller, a blind fortune teller, because the Greeks loved blind fortune tellers, that this child would kill his father and marry his mother. And so they are pregnant with a child. When the child is born, they send it out and they to be killed. And the person who was going to do that decided not to. They decided to just injure the child's foot and leave it for dead. The child survived and ended up killing his father on the roadside, not knowing that he was his father. He went back to the town, he married the queen, and the queen was his mother.
Oh, so he was ignorant.
He was ignorant. He did not know it at the time.
It was just his biology that was urging.
Well, it was faded. It was faded.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. Or do you think it was faded, or do you think it was that like the biology of the instinct behind it?
Oh, I don't know. In the story, I don't think it was that. I think it was just fate. I think they wanted to write a tragedy or maybe even a comedy. I don't know the difference between in like Greek theater, but.
Is there any legitimacy to the story? I don't know.
Any legitimacy to the story?
Is it based in real history, or is it just...
It is not based in real history, to my knowledge. I do not believe it is based in real history, luckily. Although,
yeah. Yeah, it could be argued. Maybe? I don't know. I wasn't around back then.
That's 5,000 years too late for me or something, yeah.
So I did a little homework, not much.
Okay, all right.
By homework,
all right.
I mean I talked to some people.
I know who you talked to. They told me. Yeah.
Did they? Did they hit you in on the questions?
I don't think so. No.
Well, like as broadly as possible, I was requested to ask you how science and math is connected or related.
Oh gosh,
that's such an open-ended question.
Oh gosh, I mean, math is kind of fake, if you ask me. We invented math because we wanted to understand science, and so like okay. Calculus didn't exist. We invented calculus. Isaac Newton invented calculus. Disputed on exactly who did it, but Isaac Newton invented calculus so that he is credited for it. He's one of two people credited for it. I do not know the other person.
Mr. Calculus.
He would probably have a better claim if he got the name. Yeah. But Isaac Newton invented it so that he could explain like the rate of change of like a falling object or something. Right. Because like you know that there's like a gravitational constant and for the most part at the surface of the Earth objects accelerate towards the ground at 9.8 meters per second squared. Mm-hmm. That's not a speed, that's an acceleration. But at any given point that speed is changing. And the math on that is really weird. Yeah. So he invented calculus. So there is this really weird relationship where like mathematics was kind of invented at least for science. Yeah. Even on a more fundamental level, I mean, if you're counting a sheep, you know, you need to at least be able to count. You need numbers.
Yeah, it seems like math, you know, walks so science can run kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
One of my favorite kind of things, like this is like the pretentious part of me coming out, but like I am fascinated by physics, and it seems like one of the most common misconceptions is that heavier things fall faster.
Oh gosh.
It seems like I run into people who do that all the time.
I mean, they kind of do, but it's just because of air. Like
it's just because of the resistance.
It's just because
it's not the weight.
It's not the weight. It's not the. It has nothing to. The weight allows the object to break through the air a little bit better. So on the Earth, it kind of looks like that sometimes. Like if I drop a feather,
like a marble and a bowling ball,
they'll drop at almost the same size. Like the difference in air is
indistinguishable.
It should be almost indistinguishable.
Yeah,
I'm sure if I had
sure.
You know,
if we were in a vacuum,
if we were in a vacuum, it'd be perfect. Yeah. Unless Isaac Newton was wrong. Yeah. He's
not wrong. I swear.
He kind of was, but like not wrong in any like meaningful way. Wrong in like the way that like light bends around the sun a little bit. That's just he didn't. He basically
the sun as the origin for all light.
It's just they hadn't really discovered yet that there was like non-classical mechanics in physics that were going on. Like relativity was not even like the idea of light bending at all for anything would have been unheard of because you thought light goes straight.
Interesting.
Because for the most part,
shadows are sharp edges.
Shadows have sharp edges. Other than the fact that if you're on the sun or if you're on outside and you're looking at the sun, they actually won't. They'll have a little bit of a fuzzy edge.
Yeah, kind of ambience.
Because the light at the top of the sun and the light at the bottom of the sun will have a little bit of a different angle, and that's what forms the fuzziness of the edge.
Yeah, and like you can have so many layered shadows that can be perceived as a really soft edge.
Yeah, and and that's really what you're seeing. You're seeing like a gradient because the sun's so big, but it's far away. So
like when you get into like rendering, my background's in architecture, and you render, and you can like it's easier to pull off really soft shadows, but photorealistic, you gotta go hard edges. And you gotta account for all of your light sources.
Yeah, and light sources.
Yeah, it gets really, intricate really quickly. Or you just gotta be very specific with your parameters you're setting up.
Yeah, no, that is one field that animation that I know a little bit about. and would have no desire to open that can of worms because I just know it's so complicated.
Oh yeah, like I nerd out. Like every once in a while, I love like the back end of like coding games and people making games and like I don't know, people like making their own light engines and stuff to simulate like ray tracing. I could spend too much time looking into it for sure. Let's see. Somebody recently told me that physics is just a simpler version of chemistry.
Or chemistry is a simple version of physics?
Is that what it's supposed to? I don't know. It's supposed to be like a gotcha question.
I feel like it's chemistry is a simpler version of physics. And I will say that...
Yeah, I think I was told to ask you that deliberately to like derail the conversation.
So like chemists and physicists like have a little bit of beef with each other. Like it not like deconstructive beef, but like they're like, oh well, you know, physics that explains all of chemistry, and chemists are like, well, call us when you find the other 95% of the universe, because you know they're missing 95%. We have no idea where 95% of the universe is.
Physics doesn't.
Physics, yeah, no, lost. Because
it's just forever expanding and we can't keep up?
We think that's part of it. Dark matter and dark energy. Nobody knows.
Other dimensional spaces? Or
your guess is as good as pretty much anybody's, because they basically, when they look at a galaxy, right, they can look at how fast objects are rotating, right? And they can determine, based on how fast an object is rotating and how big that object is, you can determine based on like Isaac Newton's equations, and I'm sure relativity has slightly better equations for more accuracy. But you can determine how like much mass there should be in like a given galaxy, right?
Okay.
And when they go up and they go through a galaxy and they try to count it up, they are missing a ton of mass. Like we
don't know what,
and we don't know
like
why.
Chemical composition makes up that much mass.
We don't know if it's even regular matter. Yeah. That's why we have like the term dark matter.
Dark matter is just a variable that's unknown to us.
We literally just because we don't know it at all. Like we don't even know if it's like we don't know if it's regular matter. We don't think it's antimatter, but we're pretty sure it's not regular matter because we've tried and we've counted enough times where it's like we're far enough off. It's probably not regular matter, but it affects the gravity. It affects the gravity, so we know it has to exist. So we've given it the term dark matter because we haven't found it yet. And there's a lot of fascinating research, and I'm not a physicist.
Do you think it's like an undiscovered mineral or matter, or do you think it's known matters or known variables that we're not accounting for?
It is something that I think it's some other kind of factor or force of the universe that we just don't understand yet.
Yeah, there's a variable that we don't know.
Exactly, because we're off by it. Our calculations are off by enough to where it's probably not us just forgetting to add up 95% of this galaxy's mass. Like, when we do that, or when they do that, they do like pretty healthy estimates on like this, and like they're coming up we're not talking about like, oh, they're coming up like 5% short or something. They're coming up like significantly short of the mass of that we know that galaxy has to have. And it's just really weird. And so whenever physicists don't understand something at all, dark matter, dark energy.
Yeah, I'm just going to start using that. I'm just going to be like, oh, like something's going to come up in a meeting and I'm not going to know about it. I'm going to be like, that's dark matter. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably works. And now you're doing architecture like a physicist.
Yeah. The more abstract, the better. Keeps people guessing. Dude, just a dance in the conversation. let's see. I am fascinated by like the simulation theory.
Oh gosh.
Do you buy into that at all?
I try not to. It's valid. It is genuinely valid.
Maybe we should give some backstory, or I don't know. Here, I'll just describe what I perceive as the simulation theory is that we're living in a simulation.
Yeah.
And that there's infinite or not infinite, but there's a great number of simulations that.
Well, it may not be a great number of. It may just be us on a kid's homework assignment.
Yeah.
He was told to run the program, and this is it. And
he's crushing.
Or he's just like, why are they not doing what they're supposed to? They should have become like universally harmonic by now, and they're just not.
We're just a forgotten Sims game.
We're just a forgotten Sim. It's possible, you know. I tend not to. The way I kind of view that is, it's less helpful than I think. When I try to think of like how I think of the universe, because for the most part it doesn't matter. The way I think about the universe has a tendency to not really directly affect the universe, right? So
not yet.
Not yet, but
I'm a believer that anybody can like spark a huge change. To be honest, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like
the Hunger Games, or like.
Not like mass extinction or anything. Like I'm talking about change for the better. Or I don't know. I'm a big believer in like thoughts manifest themselves in like.
Well, that's very optimistic.
Oh yeah, like I don't know. You're not a big simulation guy. Are you a religious person? Can I ask you?
I'm religious.
Do you believe in a God?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I identify myself as Catholic. You know.
Yeah. I struggle a lot with my faith. I'm not gonna lie.
I understand it.
Like
it's difficult.
I can wrap my head around the simulation. If that makes sense. But God is I don't know. I'm fascinated by like. Do you think he transcends this universe?
What do you mean transcends? Like
is heaven as in a place that is not of this universe, that's on a different.
I think that however God does it is probably beyond whatever understanding I have.
Yeah. And
I kind of just accept that.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe it is in our universe and just so far away that, you know, who knows? I don't, so I don't, you know.
Yeah, there's also the idea that the universe itself is God, or like there's a natural of this universe God. Yeah,
that's a really a pretty common belief that a lot of people's have had. And it's even like there's they call it like Christian. Some people call it like Christian paganism. I'm not sure that that's the right way to describe that, but it's not an uncommon belief.
Yeah. Yeah, like Mother Nature being of this earth.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. It's fascinating. I also love trying to.
Thank you for the water.
Oh, absolutely. I'm fascinated by dimensions. Like, my background's architecture, and obviously...
Oh, gosh.
You mentioned that we made up math. You know, all the units of measurement are essentially made up. What's this, was it Space Napkin?
Oh, the Space Napkin. That has nothing to do with dimension. That's just units of measurement. It's units
But every...
Okay.
Dimension is a unit of measurement, right? Can you reduce
I definitely know who you talk to now. Okay. So, the Space Napkin is a fully integrated unit of measurement system that I made.
Okay, fully integrated.
Like, it is defined off of all, like, fundamental constants of the universe, which beat the metric system up until just a few years ago. So the metric system, all units of measurement, their like fundamental like definition has to be set in stone, right? And the best way to do that is with some type of universal constant that we know that exists.
Right.
Like
there's so few.
There are so few, but there are a handful. Like one is like Avogadro's number in chemistry. Avogadro's number is like it's called the mole. It's 6.02 times 10 to the 23. It represents. It's basically like a way to convert an atomic number, like an atomic mass, into like kilograms.
Okay.
So it can be useful in chemistry because like if you have like 9 grams of plutonium here, how many atoms of plutonium do you have? And with Avogadro's number, you can find that out.
That's a natural occurring.
Yeah, there are different ways you can derive that number. 6.02 times 10 to the 23. It has more digits. I'm not.
Like I want to relate it to like the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence.
Oh no! Oh,
because that's like a naturally occurring constant.
It is, but it's one we made up.
I don't think it is.
Well, it's not that we made it up, but
I think we've observed it.
We've observed it in a lot of things, but it's not. The problem is it's also a sequence, and
But the sequence is like constant, right? It always goes up by the 1.618.
Yeah.
So that variable seems like a constant.
It does, but we still need to define like. The problem is if we try to define something off the Fibonacci sequence, like it's not set in. Like if we were talking to let's say we found aliens, okay?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Hell yeah.
And and we're communicating with they want to build a transporter to come see us, right? And our transporters on either side have to be the same in order for it to work. So how do we communicate how big the portal has to be, right?
Mm.
What do we say? Do we say it's the length of this rod we made on Earth this one time? Because that was the original meter. The original meter was defined off that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're like, what? Like, how, we can't see the rod. So that's the problem.
I get that. So how does this relate to the space napkin?
Okay.
Conversation off.
Okay, so we defined light or distance off of light and time.
Oh, okay.
So
like the
a
time
set
it takes for light to travel.
Yeah, exactly. It's a meter is some fraction. It's some distance that light travels in some fraction of a second that they decided was the right one to do. And anyway, that's.
Wait, you're saying this is the solution, or is this a critique on the existing?
No, it's actually but the problem with the metric system is up until a few years ago, the definition of the kilogram was big K. It was the cylinder like that of platinum iridium, and it sat in a vault in Paris, and its mass changed over time.
Oh no! Wait,
so
what?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have a control variable for kilograms.
It's not. It wasn't perfect. No, and that was our whole problem. So we needed to set it to a unit up until like 2018, I think.
And then they finally set it.
They finally set it. It took we had to create a very round object and also use a watt balance to set Avogadro's number, reset Avogadro's number based on like atoms of silicon, and then that allowed us to redefine the kilogram off of a new constant, and then now we're all good. But the space
so it is based off of
universal constants now.
Okay.
Now it is.
And I'm sorry, the number is
Avogadro's number.
Avogadro's number.
Yeah, he was some chemist back in the day. They all love to put their name on things. Boyle's equation and everything. But anyway, Space Napkin. In 2016, I was like so frustrated that I love the units of measurement.
Yeah.
If you're a chemist, you love units of measurement. And I'm a chemist at heart, even though I only have a bachelor's degree. But if you set, or I decided to make an entire unit of measurement system based off of a meme that I saw online, which was the distance between the Earth and the sun and the moon is approximately one space napkin.
Oh, but that's not constant. There's no way.
Well, I defined it off. I said, okay, the average is this many meters. So I defined it off average. I just said we're gonna make it the average because it did. The meme said approximately one giant space napkin. So the one giant space napkin is formally defined as how long it takes light to travel to the moon per second, and then some fraction of that. And that defined the giant space napkin. Because I based it off light and time.
Yeah.
And time is based off oscillations of cesium atoms in an atomic clock.
Wait, what's time based off of? Say that again, because time's an enigma to me.
Oh my god. So our definition of a second is based off of... it used to be based off quartz. It used to be based off... Because, a quartz clock?
No.
They're in, everything.
Okay.
It's the clock that's in your computer or your phone. If you ever get a watch...
It's mechanical or digital?
Yeah, it's quartz.
Like water? Like quartz of water?
Quartz, the mineral.
Okay. Oh.
The rock.
Okay.
You know quartz?
Yeah.
Okay. So it turns out that if you zap it with electricity, it vibrates at a certain rate.
Okay.
Anyway, it's good enough for most purposes. In an atomic clock, we use cesium atoms because they oscillate apparently more accurately. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, so cesium atoms are actually, I believe, how the second is defined based on some number of oscillations of cesium atoms is defined as a second.
So it's just, our perception of time is based off of... Well, that's so interesting.
Oh,
it's like resonance.
Yeah, it is resonant, and it's and our perception.
The resonance matches up with the full yearly calendar of one revolution.
No, that's just entirely human manufactured. The calendar's kind of
like one day is in the Earth revolving one time.
At this point, it's fake. The one day is 24 hours,
right?
Which is exactly 60 minutes and exactly 60 seconds. That is what a day is now.
24 of them.
Yes, it just so but when we designed it, we decided to make it very close to Earth's natural day. Which is about
the Mayan calendar, right?
Oh, I have no idea, but the Gregorian calendar, I think, is the
you're right.
We use because Catholics didn't want Easter to move. They wanted it to stay in the spring, and it was shifting a little bit.
Yeah, there's a comedian I greatly respect that always jokes about the 13-month calendar and how we should be on the 13-month calendar.
What's a 13-month calendar?
It's the year, except it's in 13 months, and each month, I think, is 28 days.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
That'd be 364 days?
Oh, man, that's quick. We can ask Alexa if you want.
Let's see. We're finding out. We're finding out actively. Okay, I hate they changed the calculator on the iPhones.
Have they? I'm like at least 3 updates behind.
Yeah. Okay. 364. So we would lose a day.
Leap year.
Every year would be a leap year, just a different type. So what we could do is we could do 13 months. Okay, I got it. Okay.
All right, I'm in.
13 months, 28 days apiece. We do that for 7 years. Then instead of a leap year, we add a leap week.
I like the leap week.
That way,
a full week off.
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
No, that's got to be a whole every 7 years.
Yeah, I mean,
we gotta make a whole holiday.
But people who have their birthdays on leap years already, it's
now they're aging in dog years.
Yeah, and then they're aging in dog years. Yeah, I knew this 60-year-old guy who was I'm literally 15
because he was born.
Yeah, he was born on February 29th. No, actually, I believe that the calendar should be 10 months.
10 months.
10 months.
36.
I don't know.
Days.
Probably, yeah. Because the Roman emperors decided to make months for themselves. 2 of them.
That's how we landed on 12?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
What the hell?
So, okay, there is July, which is named after Julius Caesar.
Like King November or something?
No, okay. Okay, this is. I will prove it to you, okay?
Okay.
So, July is named after Julius Caesar, right? July.
Yep.
Yeah, you see the leap.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not that big a leap. August is named after his successor, eventually. There's some Roman history stuff. Augustus Caesar.
Yeah.
I believe also known as Octavian. Don't quote me. Not a historian. But the next month after August is September. Sept. S-E-P-T. That means 7. That's supposed to be that should have been the 7th month. October, 8. Nov is 9. Yeah, December, Dec, 10.
What the hell?
They messed it all up.
Who the hell wrote this?
If they were going to do it, they should have put it at the end of the year and at least not thrown off the whole thing, because we had a good thing going September, October, November, December. It was a good thing we had going, and they messed it all up. I'm not at all bitter about it. No, I know.
I'm so upset.
Yeah, exactly. But they were Roman emperor. They can do what they want. I believe they're also the reason why February is so short, because they stole. I think
stole a couple more days.
I think February used to be huge.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it used to work, the old Gregorian calendars, but February I feel like used to be huge.
Man, it sounds like we need to rewrite the calendar.
I think at this point we're just stuck with it. Honestly,
yeah. Is that like daylight savings? How do you feel about daylight savings?
I think it made sense back in the day.
Yeah.
I just don't think it accomplishes any major. It takes so little to screw up so much in this world.
Yeah.
The week of daylight savings times, there are more heart attacks than strokes, and at workplace accidents, everything's worse. It just
it's a stress causer for no reason.
They lose 1 hour of sleep, and you can see it on an epidemiological level that there are more heart attacks than strokes. That's just bad for us.
Yeah, it's just throwing people out of the consistency.
Exactly, and it's just they are they can't go to bed on time because it's this should be 10 p.m. Well, even though it says 11, so it's my bedtime's 11. I can't force myself to go to sleep
It throws off our biological clock.
It does throw off our body, and it's only 1 hour.
Oh, you're making me so opinionated about
this.
It's
only 1 hour. We should set to a time where it's the most tolerable all year round. This is Indiana. It's not. It gets dark here. Winters are brutal. It's probably sunset's probably at 5:30 today.
Yeah.
So it's just
it's gross.
And it probably didn't rise until 8. So that's 9 hours
earlier.
Sure. Well, it's we're
past the worst of it.
We're past the worst of it. I think the worst is either the 22nd or the 23rd.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're a few days past it.
Solstice? Is it
the winter solstice. Yeah. The winter and summer have solstices, and I believe autumn and spring have
the
equinoxes.
Yeah. I had made a circular calendar for myself that I was going to use to mark everybody's birthdays on and mark the solstices and equinoxes, and I don't know. I'm fascinated for sure by time or perception of time.
Well, and it's entirely just influenced by ourselves, because if we didn't have a calendar, I have no idea what it would be like, because I think we think in days and weeks. a lot of times, and in like the 5-day work week, just because that's what happens. That's what we're used to. But I don't necessarily think that would be like an intrinsic human thing if we didn't have weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Like I like to say I go on like work binges.
Oh yeah.
Or like, especially when I like was really pursuing Gingerhouse, like I would, work like 12-hour days for like 4 days, and then like take a day, and then go back to working like 12-hour days. Like I don't know it's the 5-day work week in general. I don't think it's
5 days is I think 40 hours ish is probably about right. For most people, I think they can. I think most people can maintain a 40 total hours just fine. Or at least
that like working 40 hours should be able to sustain your life essentially.
I think that you should be able to sustain the other 120 or the other 80 hours of your week.
So that's working a third of our week.
Yeah, because we're talking 8 hours a day, so there are 24 hours in a day. Every day that you work about a third of the day, unless you work longer. You use that to sustain the other like 80 hours.
The third we're sleeping, and then there's the third that's a leisure time. Yeah. And then we got the nice weekend.
And then we got the weekend, so I add in 48 hours. 48 plus 80, that's 128 hours. So you're using that 40 hours to maintain your other 128 hours of your life, of which a good amount of that is sleep. So it's just like, I think you should be able to sustain yourself off about a 40-hour work week. Yeah. I'm not going to say that maybe a 35-hour work week or a 30-hour work week is maybe healthier for humans. I don't know. I've never seen much research on that. Yeah. So I can't give perspective, but I don't think a 40-hour specifically is that terrible for most of us.
I think it's a good. I think it puts everybody into a good routine for sure.
Yeah, and if you're a person who does, who prefers 12-hour days, like when you're on, you're on. Yeah, do what you do and do 12-hour days 4 times, and then you get 48 hours, and then you get 3 days off. Yeah, that's a pretty good balance.
Yeah, definitely the work-life balance is tricky. I tend to like pursue so many different things that I don't know. I have like ADHD or something.
We all do. I think these days
going in so many different directions.
It's hard. It's hard when you're like. I've felt pulled in a lot of different directions before I decided on what I finally wanted to do, and I'm really fortunate that what I want to do has a lot of the components of the other things that I really liked in it. Yeah. So I think, but it's just hard to, because like I'm like you, I felt pulled in so many different directions. Like it's just hard.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to make time for them all. You gotta prioritize some of the other.
Time to be creative. Time to work. Time to hone your skills. Time to like. And to do your hobbies, which you'll probably have 20 hobbies because you're interested in everything. So you like to bake, you like to cook, you like to do all these things,
Yeah, like I go on kicks of being like anti-video game essentially. Where like not just like I'm not gonna kick anybody for playing them. I like playing them with people, but like in the same sense that I go on work binges, if I get a new game or get on a game kick and I like to binge a game, that seems. It's just bad. For sure.
I like video games. I just never feel like I have time to play them these days. It's a real shame.
There is. Yeah, it's so hard to balance it because you do deserve leisure time for yourself, but I just feel so unproductive and so like waste so much time.
You feel like you could, because like when you're done with a video game, it's like you. Whereas like if you do something like. You fixed your car or something instead, or you worked on a household project, you can point at it and it's like, oh, I did that, whereas it's a video game, so it's like, what do you point at? Yeah. Now, the only video game that I really play is Snake versus Block, so I can pull it on my phone and play it while studying.
Nice. Yeah, I've been getting into Words with Friends lately. Normally I don't
Oh, yeah?
have, I'm not a phone game kind of person, but re-download
They're
Words
just
with
so
Friends.
convenient. The nice thing is you can just pull it out, play it for like a minute, and then back away. Now it probably does make my ADD worse. It probably makes that worse.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't know. I've always called video games distractions, just because I feel like there's more fun. I think it's a low bar for fun most of the time. There's things you could be doing that give you more gratification.
I agree.
So, but everybody deserves some leisure time. I'm not saying that they don't. I'd like to have a higher bar for my leisure time.
Also, like, what fills your cup might not... Like, there are probably some people who that is, like, really gratifying is playing video games, so...
I mean, like, Musk. He's a Diablo 4 player.
I didn't know that.
He's on the top leaderboards. He's an elite Diablo 4 player. He was ranked number 1 for a time. I don't know if he still is, but he, like... That's
hilarious.
His escape, you know?
I actually kind of have a funny story about like people you wouldn't expect to be good at video games. So there was this really hard video game that came out a few years ago. I think it's kind of in a series, but they said it was like unbelievably hard. Do you remember what it was? It was like
there's so many. It's not one of those Fallen games or something.
Fallen, like.
Oh, where you do have to like climb to the top?
No, it's not. It's not one of those. It's like Doom or something. I don't. I forget what game it is. It was huge. It was a huge video game for the time. But I just
StarCraft or something.
No, it wasn't StarCraft. I know he plays StarCraft though. My professor of biochemistry. He is this 60-year-old man.
Is it a shooter?
I think it's a shooter game, yeah.
It's like Rainbow Six, but like even more on crack.
No, it's not Rainbow Six. I know it's not. I know somebody who plays it.
What you're talking about.
Yeah. After we film this podcast, I know I'll look at my phone and it'll just come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's this ridiculously hard video game, and he's like, "Does anybody play this?" It's like, and then somebody raised their hand. And he's like, "Yeah, is the level that I'm on good?" And like, it was like. This man was arguably like top 20 players in the world or something at this game. Casually. This isn't his main, like, he is a professor of biochemistry who like writes books and also flies planes and all these things. And he is so good at this video game. It is really, like, we're just like,
it kind of makes sense. Somebody, like, I don't know, if they really want to, it's like, yeah, why couldn't that person it just dominate?
It's just really funny to me because, like, I always think of that professor. He's like, and it's like, literally, I don't think there's a thing in this world that I could do better than him if he tried. Because he's just like one of those.
I believe that.
Well, he's just that talented at like everything that he does. Yeah. Like, I think that if he decided to throw himself into baking, he would win the greatest British Bake Off.
Yeah.
He's just that sharp and that fine as a tack, and it just like and he's not even in his like video gaming prime, and like because they say like the prime for like competitive gamer like and he just like decided I'll do it and then was like
what is the prime like 20?
The 20s and 30s, I think, for professional gamers for the most part.
Well, I can see kids. Some of them are just cracked out.
Oh yeah.
So they have a ton of time. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well,
so many kids.
I know I was never as good at video games as when I was a kid because because once I finished my homework, I had nothing better to do than to beat like the world time on NASCAR 2015 or something. You know?
Yeah, I was like Black Ops 2 is when I really hit my stride. I played so much of that game. I loved it.
Yeah. The only game I've really played recently is Getting Over It, and that made me rage for quite a while, but I did beat it eventually.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was playing I went over to Aaron's and played some of the new OG Fortnite.
Oh, they re-released OG Fortnite?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I think I got ninth the game I played, which I felt pretty good.
That's not bad. How many's in a pod? 16?
Fortnite is a bus of 100 people.
Okay, oh, that's really good.
Yeah, I think I had 8 kills. I was feeling myself. You know?
Why do I remember it as being less? I only played it a handful of times, I guess.
I was a sucker for Apex for a while.
I thought you were a big Rocket League guy for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still dabble.
Every
once in a while, I'll get me and DJ will link up, and I love that game. It's so...
I love the Rocket League edits on, like, TikTok. Where, like, they'll put, like, Linkin Park's... doesn't even matter how hard you try. Like that. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Yeah. They'll put that so to like relatable. Some Rocket League like last minute shot to win the game, and it's just like the edits are just it's
Rocket League.
Yeah, it's just so funny. Or like I don't even play, but that game genuinely looks fun.
It is good. I've been playing it since it came out, since it was free. And
is it not free anymore?
I don't think so.
Oh my goodness.
I could be wrong, but I don't know. It's fun because it's all just movement. It's just all how you move. It's soccer.
I could never play that game because I would probably get dizzy in 5 minutes because that's my problem. That's why I'd give up on it. Yeah,
that was the thing with you. First, like Minecraft too.
In Minecraft, right? Yeah. For whatever reason, video games get me dizzy. Halo was was a major problem, but I can manage Minecraft for a little. But I will have to like, I can play Minecraft for like 2 hours, and then I have to be like, okay, that's probably enough Minecraft for the day because I do best on like a 2-dimensional game. If I spend the entire afternoon, I'm just like ruining my day.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'll just feel terrible, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, they're like, look at my dirt house now.
Oh no, yeah. No, actually, the last time I played Minecraft, I had a huge farm. It was great. I had like 30 villagers that I could trade for like crazy books and stuff.
Yeah, I got into like in college. We played in high school some and like grade school. It was fun on the Xbox, and then in college, I was at UC for architecture, and there was a bunch of architecture students, and Joesty started a server for everybody, and it was a baller server. I put some time into making a parkour park. That was really fun for all the architecture buddies. It's pretty great.
Oh yeah, and that was Minecraft, or
oh yeah. I had a whole parkour slime block and pistons, all sorts of stuff going on. High risk,
Oh yeah, the high risk.
I mean, you could die if you were gonna fall off the parkour map. You gotta be on it.
The one Minecraft variant I never got into was like Skyblock. I never got into Skyblock.
I never did that.
I tried. I had a friend who like mastered Skyblock.
Yeah.
You know him, but
I just saw a video. I mean, Skyblock, you have to be like so knowledgeable and efficient at the game.
It just takes forever, and I don't get the point.
Yeah, no, I'm
like it's like play regular Minecraft for me. But
the people who like take Minecraft to the like nth level where they're like playing a game in Minecraft, they made a computer in Minecraft. I recently saw somebody mined Bitcoin in Minecraft.
You would have to be like have that on like crazy like stats on your computer to do that. And it would have to be like terribly like
inefficient.
Oh, yeah. And I guess
things should just look like a giant brain of blocks.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, and it's gonna end up like, like how much capacity does that Minecraft computer like have? Like I know you can do a lot with command.
How much Bitcoin did they actually get? Probably like 0.000000001.
It's worth something. I used to have Dogecoin back when it was really fractured.
I just sold my Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. I bought some. I think it was in 2000. It was right before. No, it was later than that. It was like 22. 2022, and I bought like $300 worth, and it was right at like 30K.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it's at like 100, and I
Yeah.
sold like a month ago, and I basically like 3x.
All right, cool.
I was happy.
I would be too. I actually bought Dogecoin back in the day, like OG Dogecoin back before it was like
before it was a penny.
Way before anyone even thought about it being a penny.
Yeah.
Because it was a meme coin, and for some reason NASCAR fans decided they were going to self-fund Josh Wise, which is this random NASCAR driver who like isn't good. Not that he's not good, but he's like he wasn't a a superstar or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy, one of the back markers trying to make the field every week. They decided to fund his team to go race via Dogecoin, and so they and this was when it was worth like you put in a penny and you get like 100 Dogecoin practically.
Yeah.
So I think I donated like $30 worth in Dogecoin, and I am thinking about like if I had not done that,
just take
that would have been worth like thousands.
Yeah, I think I still have some Dogecoin. I don't know. I got a Coinbase.
It was up to like 30 cents. Like I was like,
oh yeah.
It was like
it peaked. I remember being in college and it hit 18 cents, and my roommate had bought some, and he was like, "Yeah, this is paying for spring break in entire."
I
like,
never would have imagined it reaching even a cent.
Right.
Crazy. Yeah. To the moon.
To the moon.
Yeah, that was the thing they said.
Yeah, I remember it.
Oh yes.
Musk tweets and people go nuts.
Oh gosh.
Dude, I mean, yeah, people have been just on Musk's butt ever since the election.
Oh god. Oh, I'm not touching it. Yeah, no.
Oh, I've touched it so many times on this podcast. We don't gotta get into it. I do want to ask you about. So we got the space napkin as a unit of measurement.
Yeah.
I love talking about dimensions, and I'm fascinated by dimensions.
Yeah. Okay.
It seems like most modern physicists believe that there is at least 10 dimensions that we live in.
Something like that, yeah.
10 to 12 seems to be like the rough.
Yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
And I feel like I misspoke. I don't know. Like I've talked about Einstein's theory of relativity on the podcast.
Oh gosh.
Probably in a very ignorant fashion.
Okay, all right.
Because I had thought that his theories or his equations were only justified assuming that there was 10 dimensions.
Relativity doesn't require that. I don't believe.
It doesn't?
No, relativity specifically doesn't require. I believe string theory requires that.
Okay.
So I think his string theory may only require 8, but some people may have variations of string theory that requires a little bit more. But yeah, it's
yeah, because I recently heard that Einstein proposed or that we live in a 4-dimensional,
He he thought the 4th dimension was time, and I think it is a dimension.
Yeah.
So like it's just not a length dimension. It's just a different kind of dimension. Yeah. So like time is like how things change. So it's like it's just wonky to think about.
Time is just how things change.
Well, if you think about it, like we can manipulate pretty much everything with like. I can pick up this water bottle, I can move it forward, back, up, down, left, right. I think I did that to the correct on the camera as well.
That's pretty impressive.
The people are going to be watching and saying, no, he did it backwards every single time. But with time, we're just moving in one direction at a certain speed of 1 second per second. And we're just like, it's just a dimension that we're constantly moving in one direction. We can't manipulate it. It could be that like there are higher order like beings or something, or like realities that would be able to manipulate that. I suppose, but and move backwards and forwards in times. But as far as we know, we can't.
Right. I mean, we can like skew it with like traveling around the world and whatnot.
Yeah. You can It's not really time travel. It's more so just altering your perception of time.
Right. I think one of my bigger contingencies with like, I don't know, all of the kind of laying out the dimensions we live in always start with the first three being length, width, depth.
Yeah.
But like, doesn't the like if the first one's length, doesn't length assume like a starting point? Like if the length is 5, it's 5 from what? You know.
Wherever we say it is. I mean, yeah. I mean, length does require. I think not necessarily in like a universal sense. It doesn't require a starting point, because like the universe, as far as we know, doesn't really have an edge. We have an edge of an observed universe, but we have no reason to think there's not more universe behind that we just can't get to because of the speed of light and the rate of universal expansion. We can't ever reach that. So, I think I don't think inherently length does require it, because you're just when we need to, for practicality reasons, we set one. We set here to here, but like length inherently doesn't need one, because it's just
like a dimension is a coordinate, right? So
yeah,
like a three-dimensional object is
so
X, Y, and Z.
To define, if we're defining like precision in like a 3D coordinate, then yes, we would have a dimension, and we would define where 0 is, and then we could go from there. Yeah, we would say which way's positive, which way's negative, which way's X, Y, Z. Yeah.
Because maybe I'm not thinking of it correctly, but when I think of like 4 dimensions being like 4 coordinates essentially, and maybe those are all a string of coordinates in and of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the case, then the first dimension has to be like some sort of like defining start. Like,
I think the most arbitrary, I think the most arbitrary one is to do it, everybody has to agree where 0 is on everything, right? Mm-hmm. So time on a universal level, there's at least kind of an agreement. We could say the Big Bang, when that occurred, we could set that as 0. I think on time, but we don't know where the center of the universe is, if there is one. It appears we're at it.
Right. So that's where I was kind of going. I think I have a more obscure idea of the the first dimensions we live in or something. I don't know. I believe our soul is what defines the first dimension that we are being existing.
Maybe.
It's our one-dimensional soul.
I don't know.
Man, and then I think, I don't know, like a family tree or a DNA string is kind of like a 2-dimensional kind of definition of ourselves and how we became a reality. That's really all I got so far. But I mean, there's a physical 3D reality that we live in for sure. We observe time passing. Obviously, that has to be a dimension. But I don't know. These theories get super abstract to be then there's the quantum dimension, and then there's the dimension of all possibilities.
Oh, I hate
I
hate when they say quantum dimension, because that's not a dimension. That's just size.
Yeah, the quantum space or something.
Yeah, it's just when you get so small, particles just start interacting funny.
Yeah.
It's just that's all it is. It's they're it's the quantum realm, or I hated that for Ant-Man. It's just no, that's not. Yeah, it's...
Man, so I believe that, there is no edge to the universe, as you said, but I think all of us are kind of individual edges. Like, it all starts from somebody, something.
Well, I mean, the thing that we've learned consistently is that a person is, because of the way the universal expansion works, the observer is always going to be the center of the universe, because universe is expanding equally in all directions as far as we can tell, and because of that, it creates as like the edge of the observable universe, and that's always going to be like where you are.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be at the center of that because it's based
selfish.
on you. Kind of is.
I don't know.
Maybe the universe is selfish. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
Physics is selfish.
Well, I think we probably got to wrap up. I got to go to a family party.
All right.
But thank you so much for coming on. Is
no
there
problem.
anything else you want to say before we wrap?
Not really.
All right. Going to Crackers January night. Thank you for coming to my last show.
I'll try to come to the next one. I'll try to come to the next one. I'm not 100% sure I can, but I will try.
I appreciate you coming.
No problem. No, you were really funny too.
Thank you.
I know you were like honestly the best act all night. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a couple of shows coming up. The one at Crackers. I'm really trying to get Crackers to give me a show. So I'm excited.
Well, you deserve one.
Thank you again for coming on.
No problem.
I'm so excited to kick off season 3 here.
No problem.
Let's do the intro. All right. So, welcome to the Friends with Differences podcast.
Hey, let's go.
Andy, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed it.
I wanted to press the button.
Yeah, I mean, run it up.
Had to get it in somewhere. You know.
Yeah, because the intro is a great time to do it. So, for the people, what did we talk about this episode?
We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the space napkin, units of measurement, lots of fun stuff, chemistry, physics, psychology, psychiatry, Freud.
Touch of video games.
Touch of video games, yeah. Touch of video games.
Oh yeah, Sigmund
Freud, yes. And his cocaine ways, yes. Yeah. We were kind of all over the map today.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It was a good discussion.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Thank you again for coming on. And hopefully we'll have you back soon.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Friends with differences.